This is a dude reporting from Vilcabamba. Yes, rainy Vilcabamba. This is what it looks like. What it looks like in January, the rainy season. But it's beautiful most of the time, so no complaints here. You see all my laundry hanging, getting wet. And our swimming pool. And you can see the mountains out there, barely. Yes, you never have to worry about filling up our pool. Anyway, we're gonna go inside and we're gonna talk a little bit about what life is like in Vilcabamba. So here I am on the couch, my favorite place to hibernate when it's raining and you're tired from the day. But I've been wanting to make videos since I moved here about living here. But I guess it's taken like 3 years before I got around to doing it. Though I have like over 700 videos on YouTube. So so check out my channel, which is what you're on right now, and you can see all the videos for the past 3 years of Vilcabamba and Ecuador and Loja. At any rate, I'm going to make these, actually I tried to do one video here about an hour ago and it turned out to be 30 minutes. And I'm going to try to keep these short, like 10-minute segments. So they'll be about different subjects. And so I'm going to start off with 3 years ago when we were packing to leave, and even prior before that, you know, what we did to prepare and why we chose Ecuador. So this is the first installment of many on different subjects. And so please like my video if you do, or make comments or questions. I'll be happy to answer. Any rate, over 3 years ago, we were dealing with using homeopathic medicine on my son, who was born with autism, and I think he's 14 now, so he was just turning 11, and with all the radiation coming from Fukushima for the last 6 years, and still 3 unresolved melted cores that nobody talks about, but is totally polluting the Pacific Ocean and polluting the Northern Hemisphere. Our homeopath told us that the reason the remedy was not working as well is because the radiation was affecting it. So we had actually no thoughts about moving to Ecuador and or South America or wherever. But he said the only way to get around it is to move to the Southern Hemisphere, where the wind currents are separate from the northern and south, which I had followed quite a bit and verified as true. So, you know, after following and studying about wind currents and that exist, and how it is pretty much separate from the north and the southern hemispheres, except there is some mixing and stuff like that. That, you know, it's kind of, well, you know, what do we have to lose here? But where in southern hemisphere are we going to move to? Well, places like Australia was out because it was like way too expensive to get a retirement visa. And there was places in Central America, but that was still in the northern hemisphere. And I also thought about Virgin Islands, because that's part of the U.S. and I wouldn't have to go through the whole process of getting a visa and moving to another country and all that. But Ecuador was always kind of on the back burner. I met. By the way, my background is biomedical engineering. I've been a musician for that amount of time as well for the last 40 years, and I've been an engineer. I was kind of born an engineer, and also have studied shamanism since 1980, so like almost 40 years in shamanism as well. So in the process of doing that, I had met some Ecuadorian shamans who had came to Michigan to do a workshop. and was was pretty impressed with what they're doing with them and the way they talked, and thought, well, maybe someday we'll move to Ecuador. So when I checked Ecuador, I found out that that to get a visa was a pretty easy deal, a permanent visa, the retirement visa. Um, it actually required only showing an income of $700 a month for you and $200 for each of your dependents, which, being well over 60, I won't say exactly because I'm actually counting backwards now instead of forwards. I get Social Security, and I also get it for my kids since I'm retired. And we had more than enough to qualify for that. So I started on the process of, we looked at other countries, Uruguay, Chile, different places. But Ecuador just seemed to offer a whole lot. I mean, the terrain here is like 10 countries in one. They have everything from the ocean side and beach to highlands to the mountains to the rainforest. Just, in this little country that's not much bigger than Colorado, it just pretty much has everything in terms of geography. Also, the cost of living was very inexpensive, but we had like no clue what it was like. I mean, I literally had no idea. I mean, people were telling me, or actually, people who lived in Vilcabamba were emailing me privately or messaging me saying that Vilcabamba is not a place for families, and it's very cliquey and all this. And my gut feeling was that was just all nonsense, and it proved to be correct. There's been a lot of transitions in Vilcabamba over the past 3 years. So I'm going to try to keep to the subject here, though, of preparing to move here. And I think one of the things that was really important was working with the Ecuadorian consulate in Minneapolis for me. You can, wherever you're coming from, just check with the consulate in the area and find out how they can help you and what you can do. Laws have changed since I moved here, and we were actually able to get a permanent visa in Sedgela within a month and a half. But being the engineer that I am, I had my ducks in order quite a bit, and I got all the documents that were required for permanent visa. I got them apostilled and notarized and everything that needed to happen, and I got the consulate to actually translate the documents and then certify the documents. So basically, I had a whole packet of everything that was needed, already translated, already certified, and all I had to do is fill out an application when I got here, which is why it took me a month and a half to get it. Most people come here, they get some of their documents, and then they're trying to use the mail system here sucks totally. So do not even think that, okay, I'm going to move there and I'm just going to have everything mailed to me. Forget it. Most people just end up making a trip back to the States and get all the documents that they need. So anyway, so you have to check with the new regulations that Ecuador has regarding visas. They don't give you a permanent visa right off the bat like I got. You have to wait like 2 years, and the reason probably for that is a lot of people go through this whole process. They get here, and they realize, oh, this isn't America. This is not Kansas anymore. Where am I at? There's no Walmart, and these people, they're very weird, and they, just they have bad experiences because they come here with the total wrong concept of what this is about. I came here eyes wide open, but I have lived in every part of the United States, from Portland, Oregon, to living on the Navajo Reservation, working as an engineer with the Indian Health Service, to living in Tennessee, to working with a VA hospital, to living in Chicago, downtown Chicago, Cape Cod, working on sailboats. So if you're that kind of person that travels around and just kind of deals with the situation, you do really well here. And also you're really open. I mean, kind of a shamanic consciousness. It really helps. I mean, if you're extremely religious, not necessarily religious and as far as spirituality, but religious in the way you live your life, I mean, you might have some difficulty. So preparing, we came with 24 suitcases and probably bought stuff that we didn't need to get, but fortunately brought some things that were really important. And I'll probably talk about that in another video. But preparing, I think you really need to come here with eyes wide open. You need to do not buy anything the first 6 months, or don't buy anything before you get here. If you can secure a rental, start looking 6 months before you move, because renting a place is pretty difficult. I was able to rent this from a California dude that built it 7 years prior, never lived in it. The house was a total disaster because people would just rent it for a month and then leave because it's very dysfunctional, everything. Being the engineer that I am was no problem, but I was able to get this house for $300 a month, and because it just didn't work out. Many people rented it, $500, $400. They didn't stay. It was, like I said, very dysfunctional house, but I was able to rent it prior to moving here, so I had a place to come to. And unfortunately, it turned out to be a really cool place. And I had somebody, come here and take pictures and check it out before I even laid the money down. But that's a kind of a cool thing if you can find something, to go to. But there's a lot of hostels, so you can, rent a hostel, but that, goes so long. So start looking before you get here. Go on the community Facebook pages, which is Vilcabamba community, and Vilca people, and there's also Vilca Bulletin. I think it's a Spanish and English site. So check those out. Listen, a lot of people that hang out on those though are not a good representation of. There's also Vilca Rant. So if you want to go see everybody's rants, you can go to Vilca Rant. And but they're not necessarily a good representation of people that live here. I go on Facebook and I post a few things, but it's just it's just a different mentality that's on there. But aside from that, you can see all the things that are happening, and people are posting what they're doing. And as long as you can stay out of the quagmire of all the nonsense that's going on, but also there's a lot of things posted on. Seems like people seem to post the negative things about Ecuador, or robberies, or a woman just got slashed by an Irish dude that was traveling here, and he was off his rocker, and she was staying, where he was, and crime is probably the lowest anywhere in Central and South America. Is in Ecuador, and I have never felt threatened. Really, since I've been here, my girls and I go to Loja. And it's another thing I want to talk about in future videos is about Loja. It's a city, the music capital of Ecuador, and if it wasn't for Loja, I would have never stayed. Vilcabamba is a sweet little town, and it's got its little gossip network and gringos sitting around, at the juice factory and drinking beers at Charlitos, and but if that's all there was to this place, I would have been gone. So Loja is a very cool city. My daughter studied ballet, studied modern dance. My daughter studies with second violinist of the symphony, violin. Amazing music. We play music out on the street for the last 3 years. For the last 2 or 3 times a week, we're playing music on the street in Loja. So we've really progressed musically. And we played for the president of Ecuador. We played for the birthday party of the mayor of Loja. And we've been on some. We've played music in Teatro Boulevard. My daughter just finished dancing the Nutcracker over at Teatro Carrion. And it's just a new theater they built. So it's very, very cool. Very cool. I love it. Videos are all $1.25. The latest release. I'm a total video file, so I probably bought 400 movies since I moved here. But I came with 500, so um, Loja makes it for me. It makes it. Maybe for I mean, there's people that live in Vilcabamba. They haven't even traveled to Loja, and they think it's a really crappy city, and they have like no clue. Once you get plugged in, it's just very cool city, very safe. Walk around the streets even at night, and uh, at least in the central part of the city. I don't know about other places in Loja, but so anyway, that's all I'm going to say. We packed 24 suitcases, brought a lot of stuff. Definitely bring your electronics. Computers are really expensive here. Bought a flat screen TV and from the States, $200, which would probably cost 600, 700 here. So things like that, all your electronics, jeans and things like that. You're not going to find that kind of jeans here. So buy your American jeans. Maybe I'll talk some more about packing and things that actually I will talk more about kind of things that are easy to get here and kind of things that are difficult to buy here. But we've been here for 3 years. My kids are homeschooled. 2 of them are in American Online High School, which is internationally accredited. That's another thing I will talk about in future videos, is about schooling if you have kids. It's a totally different trip. I mean, there are people that don't even school their kids here. And there are people who, like us, that's what we do all day is schooling and taking kids to dancing and violin lessons. And so I'll talk more about some of the options you have with education, and talk about the local education options that you have. And so I've gone over my 10-minute video. I'm already hitting on 18 minutes. So I will end this here. Again, try to get all your documents together before you come. Check with the consulate and find out what the rules and regulations are. I believe now it's only a 2-year visa that you have to get before you get a permanent visa. So you can't do what I did. You have to get this 2-year temporary visa. And I'm not too sure what's involved in that, but I think fairly similar to what it would be for a permanent visa, because they want to check your criminal records and all the documents and birth certificates and all that kind of stuff. So, just all I have to say, through experience, work with the consulate. And if the consulate in your area doesn't work, call another one that's at a distance and work with them through the mail. That's what I did, and get everything that you need in your briefcase, so it's with you on the plane, and your life will be a lot easier. Again, I'm not too sure about the 2-year visa, what's required, but hopefully you can work that out before you come here. And come here with the intention that you're checking it out. Don't buy a house, don't buy a place, don't buy land. See if you can, be happy here, because many people come here with different intentions. A lot of, I see retired gringos that look like they trashed their body all their life, and they come here totally looking like, like they're 80 and they're only 60. And I think they come here with the intention that Vilcabamba is land of longevity and I'm going to get my youth back. Forget it. And these people, they're disillusioned, and they don't understand why the Ecuadorian people don't take to them or don't talk to them, or they have totally wrong attitude. If you're coming here to get away from all the radiation, all the GMOs, all the bad air, all the bad food, all the bad vibes, all the intensity and pollution and insanity and political reasons, um, you know, and you want to get away from that kind of stuff, and you want to, and not to say they don't have their political problems here in Ecuador. It's not a perfect country, but it is a different country. And I mean, this is the country that's protecting Assange, the WikiLeaks guy, you know, and there's a reason for that, there's a reason why the police are not at your beck and call here. This is not a police state. Okay, I was just looking up that there is like 689, or I don't know, is per 100,000 people incarcerated in the United States versus 150 or something in Ecuador per 100,000. So that's like 6 times incarceration rate in the United States. So I mean, it's straight across, per 100,000 people. So that is something that you need to be aware of. If you take responsibility for your actions and what you choose, that's how the Ecuadorian people live. Okay, so that's it for this video. Over and out, the dude from Vilcabamba, and good luck. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Just ask me below. Take care. Bye.